So that song, Galileo, is my 3-year-old's favorite Indigo Girls song because I trained him well. And a couple months ago, he was playing with one of our ukuleles and decided to perform the song for us. So he starts dancing around with the ukulele saying, "Galileo is on the block." Now, when I heard that, I had a moment of horror. Am I accidentally teaching my kids about capital punishment? That was not my intention. Now, he hasn't actually asked me yet what this line means, maybe when he's 5, but I think I actually have a pretty good answer if he does. I'd love to tell him about Galileo, about the way he searched for the truth, even in the face of persecution, about his commitment to figuring out the way the universe works, and his persistence even when others didn't want to believe his findings. Though Galileo is not directly one of our Unitarian or Universalist ancestors, his story is not too different from the stories of so many in our lineage. And when I think about our history of heresy, I take pride in that. We come from a long line of people who have been searching for the truth and fighting for their right to proclaim that truth, even when those in power didn't always like it. Both Unitarianism and Universalism originally got on the map as early Christian heresies. In those very early days of Christianity, there were all kinds of different ideas about what Christian theology should be, and they all kind of coexisted for a while. But eventually, when Christianity got mixed up with empire and became more and more official, those in power decided that there needed to be just one interpretation that was declared to be the truth. As the doctrine of the Roman Catholic Church developed, other beliefs became heresy, punishable by imprisonment and death. There are hundreds of stories about Unitarians and Universalists over the years who were discouraged or punished for their beliefs or for how they wanted to live them out in the world. We share just 3 of those stories today. The heresy of women in the ministry, the heresy of a loving God who takes care of everyone, and the heresy of religious freedom and toleration. I love hearing and sharing these stories from our history, and I hope that in hearing them, we can consider how it is that we are carrying on that legacy of heresy, of searching for the truth no matter the cost, of living and proclaiming our faith even when others wish that we wouldn't. At a Faith in Action conference for clergy a few years ago, one of the presenters posed a question that has stayed with me ever since. It was a really simple question. What are you willing to risk? It was a question posed in the context of a larger conversation about prophetic resistance, in which we were invited to consider whether our role as clergy was to be chaplains of the empire or prophets of the resistance. The question about risk was an acknowledgement that being a prophet of the resistance was not without risk. And in fact, if we were not risking anything in our work in the world, could that work truly be called prophetic? The question stuck with me, not because, while I have some pretty strong beliefs about how our world should be, I also happen to be a little risk averse. I am actually not one to shout from the rooftops about what I believe, except maybe when I'm standing here. At least not without a lot of forethought and planning. And so I still don't know my answer to this question about risk. I don't know if I'm willing to risk my life for my beliefs in the way that so many of our spiritual ancestors did. And yet, if it was something that really mattered, I would hope that I would have the courage to risk something. I hope I do have the courage to risk something. That I hope that I would have within me that strength of conviction to persist in what I believed was right, even if it is not the popular thing to do. It is, after all, what we all are called to by our heretical heritage. We are called to a life in which we live our faith proudly and boldly, to be Unitarian Universalists even when it is not the popular thing to do, to proclaim love for all, even when others might urge us toward hatred. May we heed the call of our heretical heritage. In the words of Queen Isabella, the dream lives on. May we prove to be its worthy stewards.